Have you ever wondered what really separates a great, comfortable set of eyelash extensions from one that just feels, well, awful? Itchy, painful, maybe even damaging? It's not the glue, and it's definitely not just bad luck. We got our hands on a professional training manual, and what it shows is that a perfect application comes down to a kind of hidden science. And that's what we're about to get into. Okay, let's just dive right into the heart of it, because this is probably the number one question people have. If you've ever had extensions and felt that constant pulling or irritation, you're not crazy and you're not just being sensitive. It means something has gone fundamentally wrong with how they were put on. And according to the training manual, these are the classic red flags: that constant pulling sensation, that annoying itch right at the lash line, or watching your extensions fall out way too soon, sometimes in clumps. This isn't just a fluke, it's a direct result of bad technique. So, what's the one huge mistake that causes all this? Now, what's so fascinating about this is that all of these nightmare scenarios, every single one of them, can be traced back to just one critical error. Which is great news, right? Because it means they can all be prevented by mastering one single non-negotiable rule. And that rule is called isolation. It sounds simple enough, but this is the absolute foundation of safe professional lash work. It means that a technician has to meticulously separate one and only one of your natural lashes from all of its little neighbors before attaching a single extension. Sounds easy, but it is incredibly precise work. The professional standard isn't just, a suggestion. It's a strict black and white rule. One single extension gets bonded to one single natural lash. That's it. No exceptions. Okay, so this might seem a little intense, right? Why so strict? Well, there's a really cool biological reason for it, and it has everything to do with the way your own lashes naturally grow. So think of your lash line kind of like a forest, where every tree is on its own schedule. At any given time, you've got some lashes that are basically babies. They're still growing. Then, right next to them, you have mature lashes that are getting ready to naturally fall out. They are not a team. Each lash is on its own individual timeline. So here's exactly what happens when that isolation rule gets broken. An extension gets glued to two natural lashes at once, basically shackling them together. Now, just imagine, one of those lashes is trying to grow longer, but its neighbor is trying to shed and fall out. They get locked into this painful tug-of-war right at the root. That pulling sensation you feel, that's it. And that's what can cause real long-term damage to the follicle. But perfect isolation, that's just the start. That's the foundation. From here, the whole thing becomes a game of microscopic precision. Let's look at the really fine-tuned details that separate a decent technician from a true master. This number, the professional manual, is so specific about this. Every single extension has to be placed between 0.5 millimeter and 1 full millimeter away from the eyelid. Not touching the skin, not too far down the lash. It has to land in that tiny, perfect little window. And there is absolutely no wiggle room here. It's this tiny little Goldilocks zone. A fraction of a millimeter too close, and you're going to feel it poking you every time you blink. A tiny bit too far, and the base of the extension doesn't get a solid bond, which means your lashes are going to fall out way before they should. And it doesn't stop with spacing. There are even more rules of precision. A real pro follows the natural growth direction of each lash. If you try to force it, you create stress. They line up the extension perfectly parallel for balance, and they use the absolute minimum amount of glue needed for a clean, strong bond. And, maybe most importantly, they are constantly checking their work for any accidental stickies, any rogue bonds that could ruin that perfect isolation. Now, this brings us to what might be the biggest misunderstanding in the whole lash world. When extensions start falling out too fast, what do we all blame? The glue, right? It's always the glue's fault. But the training manual makes it crystal clear it is rarely the glue's fault. Almost all the time when you have bad retention, it's a direct result of poor isolation and bad placement. If that foundation is weak, the whole thing is going to come crumbling down. So here's the big takeaway. The real secret to getting those long-lasting, healthy, gorgeous eyelash extensions, it isn't in a bottle of adhesive. It's in the steady hand and the meticulous skill of the person applying them. So when you put it all together, you see that a perfect application isn't just about one thing. It's about respecting the natural lash every step of the way through perfect one-to-one isolation, that microscopic spacing, and precise alignment. It's how you create a look that's not just beautiful, but healthy too.
At the end of the day, what might seem like a simple beauty service is actually a super technical skill that demands incredible precision. It's a craft where millimeters make all the difference, and the health of your natural lashes completely depends on the artist's technique. So the next time you see a truly perfect set of lashes, you won't just see the beauty. You'll see the science and the artistry of a real master at work.